Jimin left everything behind for Jungkook, is there anything to hide? There are times when major decisions are not announced through press releases, nor are they framed in media cameras. Sometimes, it's just one small step, one plane ticket, and one anonymous text message. This is what happened to Park Jimin. A silent moment that is now a hot topic among the army, after the information spread that Jimin had stopped all his personal activities, even without the full knowledge of his agency, for the sake of one thing that is not yet widely known to the public. Jungkook. Sources within HYB revealed that there was one day in the last month where Jimin did not appear on the internal schedule, whereas previously he was recorded to attend a private session with the creative team. However, without explanation, he was absent. Usually if an artist is absent, we are notified through a manager or personal staff. But this time there is no news, said one of the employees. The HYB team, accustomed to Jimin's professionalism, began to worry. But in just a few hours, the news was hermetically sealed. No official statement, as if nothing had ever happened. But the sharp army soon came to its senses. On the same day, one fan of the Japanese online community shared a cryptic photo of someone who looks a lot like Jimin at a small airport near South Korea's military region, according to information from sources close to the military environment. Jimin used his personal time to visit the training site where Jungkook was stationed at the time. Its purpose is not to appear, nor is it for the needs of the media. He came, only to bring something called a letter that has never been written. A military insider who saw him said he only stood for a few minutes at the outer gate. Don't want to make a fuss. No permission to go inside. He just wanted to hand over something directly, but ended up choosing to leave it to the officer. What's in the letter? No one knows for sure. But a few days later, Jungkook looked different. More quiet, more in his mind. He even asked for his own time, playing instrumental songs repeatedly in the barracks at night. Yeah, but not a scandal, not a conflict. What is hidden is feeling. Feelings that may be too complicated to say clearly, too sincere to show, and too deep for the camera to frame. Jimin chose silence, choosing to come not as a celebrity, but as a best friend, or maybe something more. It does not need highlights. No confession needed. It is enough to see that his presence makes a person inside there feel a little stronger to endure day after day. A few weeks after Jimin's mysterious visit to the gates of the military headquarters, the atmosphere inside the training barracks seemed different. At least for those who know Jungkook close enough. He is no longer a cheerful figure who laughs a lot during breaks. But it's also not that Jungkook is moody or introverted. It just became more focused, quieter. And what is most striking, right, more often, according to his barracks colleagues, Jungkook began carrying a small notebook with him wherever he went. Not to jot down training material, but to write something very personal. There were certain nights where he sat by himself under dim lights, pen in hand, his lips murmuring softly. It was as if he was making up something he was very careful about. Someone once dared to ask, "You're making a song, huh?" But Jungkook just smiled a little and said, "It's not a song, it's some kind of answer." According to information from soldiers serving in the internal communications section, there was one moment when Jungkook requested permission to access the military's internal broadcast room. Usually this space is only used for important announcements, official military news, or limited entertainment for soldiers. But that night, exactly at 0:01 only for 2 minutes, the sound of a simple acoustic guitar playing through the internal network. No lyrics, no announcements, just a soft guitar passage with a melody that feels personal, warm, and very melancholic. Not all soldiers heard it. Many are already sleeping. But a senior officer who happened to be on duty recognized the voice. The guitar quote, "It belongs to Jungkook. He has a special way of touching strings," said the officer. "And I'm sure it's not just to pass the time, it's for someone." A few days after the broadcast, an envelope was sent from the military headquarters to an address in Seoul, not sent directly to the dorm, but to a small office where Jimin used to rehearse choreography privately when he wasn't with the group. The envelope had only 2 letters in the lower right corner. PJ. The staff who received the parcel thought it was just fan mail. But after seeing the postmark from the military region, they contacted Jimin's manager personally. The letter was instantly saved, not opened by anyone but one person. Shortly after, Jimin disappeared again. This time, only for one night. And the next day, he returned with slightly swollen eyes, yet has smiled, and no one has ever confirmed the contents of the letter. But someone from the inner circle mentioned that from that day on, Jimin's phone began to be active more often at night. She opened the Notes app and smiled to herself. A staff member said, Jimin said, "Sometimes the most beautiful answers are not in words, but in the form of courage to speak honestly without a voice." That day came without warning. No mail, no announcement from the agency. Not even HYB staff were involved in this arrangement. But someone from the internal military leaked that the training schedule between divisions underwent a sudden major change. And one of the combat units where Jungkook is located is scheduled to visit the Joint Strategic Training Center, a place that happened to be not far from the location of Jimin's placement. Some people think this is a coincidence. But for those who know both, this is something long awaited. It was like fate had finally moved a little to make room for the two souls who had been holding back words for too long. Jimin knows. And Jungkook knows it too. But none of them were really ready. Jimin stood near the entrance post, dressed in full military uniform. But there was something different about the way he stood that day. His hands trembled a little, and he continued to play with the rope of the glove that he had taken off, but did not know where to put it. When the motorcade of military trucks came, he straightened himself. But as one figure leapt down with a face full of dust, piercing eyes that instantly swept through the ranks, time seemed to stop. Jungkook saw it too. They don't talk, but their world is shaking. The other soldiers didn't realize what was happening. They thought it was just two BTS members greeting each other with a respectful nod. But for Jungkook and Jimin, it wasn't just a greeting. It was an emotional explosion without sound. A look full of questions, full of guilt, full of longing, and full of hope. Later that night, when practice was over and everyone was resting, Jimin sat in a corner of the field. He was holding a small piece of paper, a note he had written since he knew they were going to meet. But he never dared to give it. Meanwhile, on the other side of the tent, Jungkook looked at the dark sky, his lips moving slowly. Some people say it's like talking to yourself, but actually, they're talking to each other over the air, through the heart, through all the moments of silence that cannot be explained to anyone. Between activities, Jimin slipped a small paper into Jungkook's drinking canteen that was placed on the table. No name, without embellishment. Just one sentence in the middle of the page. "If I'm late, it's not because I'm hesitant. It's because I'm afraid I can't look at you without crying." Jungkook didn't open the paper right away. But later that night, he sat on the edge of his bed for a long time, and when morning came, a colleague saw him keep something in his breast pocket just near the heart. Their relationship is not for the world to talk about, not to be used as gossip or just entertainment material. But for those who understand the language of feelings, the silent language whispered through looks and actions, "This is enough." Now they may not be able to sit together and laugh like they used to, but small steps have already begun. The walls slowly fall down. And behind all that, there is hope that never dies, because love, in any form, always finds its way home. Human relationships are complicated. And those relationships that are built in secret, deeper than friendship, but cannot be named openly, are the most difficult to maintain. But Jungkook and Jimin have found their own way. One with silence and action, another with silent steps and restrained tears. No announcement. No scandal. Just two people trying to touch each other's hearts without hurting the world around them. And for Army, who always pays attention to every little detail, this is more than enough to understand that love, whatever the form, it does not always have to be shouted. Sometimes quite felt.